Hey everyone, welcome to episode 2 of our Wheatbelt Lake Grace trip. A couple of caravans left our convoy this morning and now we are heading to our next campsite called Jam Patch. Here we are going through Narembeen and we stopped here for morning tea. And here we are driving along the Tin Horse Highway, which is just around Coolin. Jam Patch is a gorgeous spot to camp. It is a 202 hectare area of bushland and is 18 kilometres north of Lake Grace. There is an old tennis/basketball court here and some great walking trails which takes you around a salt lake. The early settlers made these roads in order to get across the salt lakes. This is a jam tree, which is what this campsite is named after, and what those corduroy roads are partly made of. The Lake Grace Land Conservation District Committee acquired a grant to repair the old clubhouse. It took 5 years to repair from 2012 to 2017. This old tennis court was built in 1953 from ant hills dug from a local farm. The ant hill material was then compacted like cement. The last tennis match was held here back in 1980, but it also looks like they used to play basketball here as well. We had a lovely afternoon at Walkers Hill Vineyard. Normally they're closed on a Tuesday, but they opened up for our club to go there for lunch and some wine tasting. The food was awesome and the wine was really nice. Of course, I bought a couple of bottles. And we also found out that Walkers Hill Vineyard is WA's most inland vineyard. Everyone was still quite full after a lovely lunch, so we ended up just having happy hour and a few nibbles and a bit of a sing-along in the clubhouse. And it went on into the night. It was actually a really good night. Some of us actually made some other instruments out of whatever we could find in the caravans. I had a couple of spoons that I just tapped together. Someone else had a container filled with rice as a shaker, and some other very creative instruments. Today we have left Jam Patch campsite and now heading towards Lake Grace. Here we are driving past Walkers Hill Vineyard where we were just yesterday. Bella checking out the scenery. Driving through Lake Grace. Here we are in Dumble Young, finally getting to check out the replica of the Bluebird. We were here back a couple of years ago and the Bluebird was getting some maintenance done on it. This vehicle is a gas turbine powered vehicle which was driven by Donald Campbell back on the 17th of July 1964, where he set the world record speed on Lake Dumbleyung, and the speed was 648.7 kilometers per hour. There is a pretty cool museum in the old train station building. Now we are in Wagin, where we spend our last night for the trip before everyone starts to head home. We stayed at the Wagin Caravan Park. It's not very fancy, but it's still pretty cool. The ablution blocks were nice and clean. Had an awesome campers kitchen with barbecue area. But the sites were a bit odd. We all had to park on a bit of an angle and it was kind of tight for some of us. The famous Big Ram of Wagin. We checked out the Wagin Historical Village, which is definitely well worth checking out. It has quite a few replica buildings of the past, which you'll see in the next few photos and videos. Sorry, there was quite a few, but I just couldn't help myself. The cost is $10 for adults, $5 for children, and $8 for seniors. Definitely check it out when you're in Wagin. Oh yeah, and I forgot to say, dogs are free. Again, apologies for all the footage of the historical village in Wagin, but this is just such an awesome museum. It is just as good as the museum in Westonia. Our last couple of days were at an awesome spot in Brookton before Richard and I headed home. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for our next adventure.